Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Leading the Conversation from NAMI Northern Illinois. Today's topic is the vital role movement and nutrition play in supporting mental health. And to present that is our special guest today, Sonya Mcdevitt of Four Corners Wellness. A little bit of introduction. First of all, my name's Warren Boykin. I'm the um, Program and Outreach Coordinator for NAMI Northern Illinois. And a little bit about Sonya. Uh, S- I don't know if it's pronounced Sonya or Sonya. Sonya.
I was gonna say, Warren, you were so close, but it's Sonia.
Sonya. Okay, good. Sonya holds the titles of Licensed Clinical Professional Counselor, LCPC, in both Illinois and Wisconsin, Nationally Certified Counselor, NCC, Certified Nutrition Coach, NASM, CNC, and is trained in EMDR. She completed her master's degree in mental health counseling from Walden University, and her goal is to help clients develop a healthier understanding of themselves through a client-centered and cognitive behavioral approach. Her focus is with individuals 12 years and older uh, in areas including anxiety, depression, trauma, self-harm, eating disorders, nutrition, and self-esteem. And without further ado, I'd like to present Sonya Mcdevitt.
Thank you, Warren, very much. And I appreciate everybody showing up today. Warren, will you, I can already see that somebody put in like a chat. Do you keep track of that or, okay.
That's a good question. Um, and thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
People can put things into the chat, and the comment is that you are amazing.
Oh, I don't know who was saying that because I can't see anybody, but
That,
thank you.
that comes from someone named Kirsten Edmonds.
Oh, my dear.
Okay.
Hi.
All right. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Kirsten, and people can put questions into the Q&A, uh, and I'll keep an eye on that or into the chat.
Sure. Thank you,
Okay.
Warren.
All right.
Well, welcome. I am so appreciative of you guys asking me to come on here today and talk a little bit about nutrition, movement. I added in some stuff about gut health, and I get asked a lot about supplements and vitamins. So, depending on how far we get today, I included a little bit about all of those things. Kind of like Warren said, a little bit about me. I transitioned from KP counseling. So if some of you knew me over there, I was there for about 12 years and then started with Kevin at Four Corners this past year. And have really focused a lot on nutrition and trauma work. I can say for myself, recovering over the years with my own disordered eating and eating disorder past, along with having some trauma and chronic pain in my life has really led me to this place where I just have so much interest and passion in these topics. So at any point, please, anybody that has questions, or if you ever need to reach out to me individually, I will put my information at the end because I'd love just to check in with anybody that needs that support. Um, okay, so I put a lot of information in here, and I'll go over everything as much as I can. But I kind of went over, I run a support group for Ortho Illinois and the YMCA called Joint. And those individuals in the program are working towards having surgery on one of their joints, their knees, their hips. In order to do that, they have to reduce their BMI. So I am the social emotional support person for them, and we work a lot on eating disorders, emotional eating, kind of debunking a lot of things that they have seen in social media. So I have taken a few of those today and really wanted to kind of talk about what's appropriate, what to really focus on for yourself, and maybe get rid of some of that mess that we hear about oftentimes just if we're watching a lot of social media or listening to our friends and just what works for them. So one of the biggest ones we talk about is this kind of 10,000 steps. And I want to say there is no evidence that you have to get to 10,000 steps every day to have this magic thing happen to your body. Actually, research, excuse me, shows that anywhere from about 7,000 to 7,500 is kind of a key point and beneficial for our body. It got started, and I don't know if some of you already know this, but in the 1960s, a Japanese company made a like pedometer, and the meaning of the pedometer was 10,000 steps a meter, which is where this kind of came from. So everybody that is striving for these steps, there's nothing wrong with doing that. Just know that you can reach a lot of the same benefits with 7,000 to 7,500 steps a day. And I wanted to kind of go over just really quick as we're talking about walking and movement. A few key things. After about 2 minutes of walking, we actually start to improve our blood circulation. After 5 minutes, our mood and our endorphins start to raise. At 10 minutes, our cortisol levels start to drop, which if we don't know what that is kind of our stress hormone. And it's usually the highest for people first thing in the morning. So even going for a simple walk in the morning can help reduce some of our cortisol levels. At 15 minutes, our blood sugar actually starts to decline. So a lot of people will talk about going for a walk after meals. And the importance of that is really to kind of move around, obviously, after we eat, but that can help our bodies in so many different ways. And part of that is just reducing our blood sugar levels. At 30 minutes, if we're interested in learning about fat burning, that's when we start to burn some of that fat that we have stored in our bodies throughout the day. So at about 30 minutes, that starts to work. And one of the big ones for a lot of people when we talk about mental health is anxiety. And about 45 minutes of walking, and it does not have to be at a fast pace, can help reduce our overall anxiety and kind of calm our central nervous system. And then by 60 minutes, we have that boost in serotonin, our happy hormone, if we want to call it. So there's so many benefits of walking that I think we can miss out on sometimes if we're just focused on this number of 10,000 steps. Okay. How much movement walking should we get per week? If we just go down to the basics with the CDC, it says adults should aim for about 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity, which breaks down to only about 20 to 30 minutes per day. And that can include so many different things, swimming, walking, a workout, running after little kids if you have them, anything, cleaning the house. So any level of moderate intensity activity for about 20 to 30 minutes a day. And then it says children, and this was based on 17 and under, should get about 60 minutes a day. When I looked up the latest kind of research on all of this, it says only about 28% of children actually get 60 minutes of movement per day and 24% of adults. So that's a huge number of people that aren't able to get some sort of movement in their day. And when I talk to a lot of people in the joint group, they're dealing with a lot of pain. A lot of people are so busy throughout the week that they feel like they can't add in that time for themselves. So that's why I wanted to include this, is it doesn't have to be a lot, but it has such a benefit for us to start getting some of that more. And I just wanted to put on here some of the things that actually movement helps with. Reducing our stress and anxiety, like I talked about, and improves our mood. So kind of going back to our happy hormone, serotonin. sleep overall. I don't know how many of you have struggled with sleep. I am somebody myself that does, and just being able to get out for walk or even doing some sort of yoga or stretching before bed has really helped me over the past few years. Lowers the risk of depression, um, improves energy levels, supports emotional regulation. And I think that's a huge one I will come back to in a little bit. Improves our cognition. And they have found movement in our body can help reduce dementia by almost 20%. Um, so these have quite a bit of an impact on us by just doing something for ourselves throughout the day. And the next one I wanted to bring up was nutrition. And there are so many different things that I could talk about in regards to nutrition. So please, at any point, if there are questions or specific things that you would like to know, I'd be happy to answer. So I kind of put on here the old adage of you are what you eat. Similar to the gas we put in the car, fuel matters that we put in our bodies. Our brain and our body functions more efficiently with high quality foods. And I really want to preface that by talking about balance in foods. Over the years and working with a lot of people, they get really upset with themselves when we feel like we have ruined a diet or eaten things we shouldn't have. And the more that we can find balance, the more that we can feel good about our choices and still enjoy the things that we really want in our nutrition. So I want to really make sure that we talk about there is no perfect diet for anybody. What works for one person is not going to necessarily work for somebody else. One of my clients brought up a video the other day in session of a woman who looks phenomenal, and she's in her 50s and wanted to know how she could look like her, was following all her kind of regiment throughout the day and was feeling really frustrated. When we broke it apart, this woman that she was kind of role modeling after worked out for almost 3 hours a day. And for her, she chose no sweets, no alcohol, no high sodium foods. She really limited her, I want to say, nutrition. And when I asked my client if they wanted to do those same things, those weren't their overall goals. So it really helped to figure out what their goals were for themselves to help make sure that they had their own balance with food that was helping their body function appropriately, but they also felt really good with. And I bring that up just to remind all of us that there's so much that we can listen to that it's really helping everybody figure out the nutrition that works not only for their body, but any health issues that they have going on and what you truly enjoy.
Sonia,
Yes,
there is a question that came into the Q&A, and I really
sure.
hope that people will put it in the Q&A
Oh,
from Nitro Starling, a good friend of ours from Jeremiah Development. She questions, in these times, how do we know what's high value food?
sure. And great question. And there's so many different ways that I could go about that. You know, if we broke it down really simply, it is whole foods, foods that maybe come out of the ground, like we talk about potatoes, right? Things that we can cook pretty simply. You know, a lot of people will get caught up in they can only buy organic foods, and those are extremely expensive, like you're bringing up. It does not have to be, or you don't have to have an organic banana or an organic apple for it to benefit your body. So I think being mindful of where everybody's finances are, that you can still buy things that feel really good and are good for you, but they don't have to cost a ton and they don't have to be organic.
Thank you. And one other question that had come in, and this one I could answer. Um, Kira had asked if there will be a recording. This webinar is being recorded. I will try and have it uploaded by tomorrow. Check after midnight. Uh, and it will go to NAMI's YouTube page.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Warren.
All right.
And I can always send out, just in regards to that question that was just asked about foods. I can add in any information maybe that Warren can also include if you guys want to check it out just on, I get asked about like eggs, what type of eggs are the best for people, maybe what type of meats are the best, when we talk about 80-20, 90-10. So I'd be more than happy to include some of that information that if you can post that later too, or if you
Absolutely.
just want to reach out to me, I can do that as well.
Right. NAMI Northern Illinois has a great Facebook page. We can post things there. Um, and I don't know if you're able to share copies of the slide, but of course we have the recording. Last question, there was someone who asked about the benefits of 5 minutes. I don't see that question at the moment, but is there a benefit to doing maybe 5 minutes of aerobic exercise?
Yeah. Anybody that says no to you, please don't listen to them. And I try to say that lightly, but kind of going back to when I said the walking or doing some sort of movement, 5 minutes is enough to not only improve or increase your blood circulation, but it also helps your overall mood and increasing your endorphins. So people that are limited on time, or you're like, oh my gosh, my kid's gonna get up in a minute, or I gotta take the dog out. 5 minutes is always better than not letting yourself do something. And I will say, I use the 5 minute rule for myself a lot of times, because more than likely, when I start something after a few minutes, it feels good just that I got into that routine. And usually I can then go for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And if I can't, it's just being really proud of yourself that you did that for those five
Mhm.
minutes. So great
Wonderful.
question.
Mhm. I'll hold some of the rest of these questions for a bit so that you can get through your material. Keep typing them into the Q&A and we will get to them at the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Warren.
Okay.
And then I just kind of wanted to put this in here. Our food choices can impact our sleep, our mood, our overall appetite, inflammation in our body, our cognition, and just overall mental health. Um, we focus so much on just talking about nutrition sometimes, or people just want to know what workouts they should be doing. But I think we lose sight that sleep, if we are not getting enough sleep for ourselves, that's going to impact our mood and our body more than we realize. Um, kind of talk about appetite, going to that one. When we don't fuel our body enough, we kind of limit some of those, I think, sounds that our body gives off, meaning usually, I don't know about you guys, but when it's lunchtime, my stomach starts to growl, which indicates to me that I need to eat something. When we don't take care of ourselves, we sometimes lose some of those signals, and we stop listening to our body. So just learning about ourselves and finding a balance for our nutrition can really help even those signals that we have throughout our body. Um, and to me, being a therapist all of these years, our mental health, so that last one, our overall mental health is so important. So we could be doing all of the right things for our nutrition or for our movement, but if we aren't taking care of ourselves, it won't help overall big picture. So I can't stress that enough, is how to take care of ourselves overall. Okay, so I want to give some examples of nutrition choices that we can use to kind of help support our health. You probably hear so much people talking about proteins, fats, carbs. You got to have all of the right things at all of the right times. And so a lot of times in my joint group, they will ask for just simple types of vegetables that are good for you, whole grains that are okay for you, different types of meats. So I just wanted to break it down and give a few examples of some things that do well in your body for vegetables, fruit, fish, seafood, lean meats, beans, whole grain, oils, and then I put some nuts on there too. We talk a lot about tracking. So I don't know if anybody ever tracks their food or is interested in that. Some really helpful apps with that. If nobody's looked at the Lose It app, that can be really helpful. And then, I think the most common one is MyFitnessPal. Somebody brought in the other day an app for me to look at called Yuka. So I don't know if anybody has seen that. Where's my phone? So you basically download the app, and if you have your item at the grocery store, you can scan it with your camera, and it comes up with a rating about that food or drink. So it'll usually give you what's in it, if it's high, like in sodium or fats. And then the only thing that is maybe not the greatest about the Yuka app is it says whether the food is good or bad. And I don't really like that term because there really should be no quote unquote good or bad foods. But it just tells you basically if that is something that is nutritious for your body or not. The other one I just started looking at is called the Zoe app. If anybody would like to look that one up, that one gives a little bit more just nutrition based, and it's not necessarily giving a good or bad. You can take a picture of your entire plate, and it will assess what you have on there and label it for you as far as proteins, fats, carbs. So that one's actually pretty helpful. It's just a lot of information that it pulls up for each food. So again, I can hand this out and include those apps on it if anybody would like those too. And then the next part is gut health. We hear a lot about that, I'm guessing. And when we talk about gut health, that's our intestines, our stomach, our esophagus, everything that kind of helps move the food in our body. And so when our gut health is working well, it can help improve our mood, lower our risk of disease, lower our anxiety and depression levels, reduce inflammation, can help improve immune system, clear up our skin, improve our energy levels. And again, kind of coming back to that cognitive function, it can help improve our cognitive function. Because when our bodies are working well, it helps break down, absorb, and discard any of those things in our body that either are waste or that we need as far as nutrients. I can share for myself personally, since I have been in my 40s the last few years, I am a lover of sugar, but it does not agree with me so much anymore. And I've noticed my skin is actually a lot clearer and my stomach feels a lot better since I've reduced some of that. So just learning how to listen to myself, it's really helped and allowed me to reduce some of that in not only my skin, but overall in my body. So just one example of what it can help if we actually focus on some of our gut health. And I included this one on here as well, because this kind of shows what actually is involved and impacted by our gut health. So we have our brain, which they often refer to as our second stomach, our heart, so heart disease, visceral fat, type 1 diabetes, plaque buildup. So when I talked about it can actually improve some of like our immune, those are things that it's talking about as well. Skin, it can help with acne, rosacea, eczema, and psoriasis. One that people don't really think about a lot is oral health. I can say for those that I've worked with, and myself included, when we talk about eating disorders, that's one that dentists actually know and observe a lot of. So if you have struggled with an eating disorder or have had some issues, you'll notice that you might have more like abscesses, it's talking about gingivitis, more need to go to the dentist. And I can share more on that too if anybody needs further resources. And the next one's liver, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, toxicity. So just a few examples of how our gut can impact that. And then our immune system. So a lot of autoimmune disorders actually can be impacted by what we put in our body, certain allergies, asthma, and inflammation. And then hormones. We can talk a lot about how the gut can affect our thyroid, estrogen levels, testosterone, weight gain at times. So this is just, I want to give an example. It's almost, if I could say, if we have issues with our car and we have multitudes of issues, but we only go in and work on one thing or fix one part, it's not going to help all of the other things that are broken. So being able to focus not only on our nutrition, but on our mental health and our overall physical health can help improve so many different things. And then I wanted to kind of give some examples of foods. A lot of people ask me about supplements, which I will get to as well. But there are a lot of foods we could actually eat to help improve our gut health. Some of those examples, like fermented foods, Greek yogurt, kefir, kimchi, kombucha, and sauerkraut. High fiber foods, lentils, black beans, chia seeds, raspberries, barley, kind of oats and edamame, and then some prebiotic foods, apples, onions, garlic, flax seeds, bananas. Some of these people might not like, and that is okay. I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew some of the resources that you could have for gut health. And I think to stress too the importance of gut health. We talk a lot that when that can improve, your sleep improves, um, kind of the overall mood. Um, so just trying to connect that all together for everybody. And I get asked a lot on ways that food can impact our mental health and how we can help reduce some of that. Reducing alcohol use, high sugar foods, some processed foods, soda, that's always one that we talk a lot about. And then a lot of caffeine. I don't know about you, but I am not somebody that can drink a lot of caffeine. Um, it does kind of increase probably anxiety in my body, but just a little bit of shakiness, not feeling level-headed. So not having that, I definitely notice a little more clarity for myself. So these are just some examples of how to improve mental health just with foods. And then we kind of talking about supplements and vitamins. So I don't know how many people probably take some of these supplements and vitamins, but here's some kind of common ones that people ask me about or that are really popular lately. Magnesium. So avocados, bananas, broccoli, seeds, dark chocolate, all of these things uh, have magnesium in them. So maybe instead of taking a supplement, if you don't want to take that, it's increasing some of these foods. And I've kind of given an example then of zinc, what's in zinc, beef, nuts, milk, yogurt, omegas. When we talk about cognitive function and brain health, anchovies, a lot of people might not like those, avocados, chia seeds, olive oil, salmon, and tuna. And that is supposed to say vitamin D, so I apologize. Um, Salmon, tuna, eggs, mushrooms. Those are just examples of other foods that you could eat to get vitamin D for yourself. And I will say, while we're on that, vitamin D is one of those supplements that we actually don't get enough of usually in our foods or just overall. So sometimes people will take vitamin D supplements. So I just wanted to point that out too, because that's a hard one to for our bodies to absorb just on its own. And as we talk about this, I also wanted to bring up, I get asked a lot about portion sizes as we talk about things. So I want you to imagine or draw out right now a plate. And I want you to take half of that, and that's going to be your veggies, your fruits. And then I want to take about a fourth of that, and that's going to be your proteins, fish, chicken, beef, pork, whatever it is. And then you're going to take a little less than a fourth of that, and you're going to do your carbs. Whatever carbs you are choosing. And then probably, I'd say about a thumb of fats. That could be avocados, olive oils, anything like that. So if you have your plate there, that is just a really simple example of how to break up some of the foods that you're eating throughout the day. I want to stop and give a chance if there was any questions or things.
Actually, there are a few questions.
Sure.
Couple, and especially one that talks about something called MCAS, mast cell activation syndrome. I don't know if that's something you're familiar with, but it says food is scary. And they find that exercise, including walking during a flare-up, causes them to have an MCAS worse reaction.
Hmm.
It says they also struggle with anxiety and depression, so they know movement and nutrition is essential for their mental health. Any suggestions on movement that would not set off the MCAS? So I think that might be some type of inflammatory mast cell activation syndrome.
Okay.
So
Yes,
movement, have you heard of it?
I have heard of it. I'm not going to pretend I'm a doctor or know all of these things about it. So I will do the best that I can, and I appreciate asking that. So maybe if walking does too much, and just examples, yoga. So it's not something that maybe you are putting as much strain on your body when you are having a flare up. Any sort of even stretching. I don't know if you have access to a pool, of being able to just move your body in a pool. And that does not mean that you have to go all out crazy in that way, but maybe just moving your body in that regard. Um, Pilates, that could definitely be an option. Probably low level, something that you could do at home. Another great thing, if anybody goes on YouTube, and I use this a lot for my joint group because they struggle, like I've talked about, with movement and pain, there's a lot of chair related exercises. So maybe even getting up and standing and moving might flare. So if you can go on and pull up one of those videos, there are tons and tons.
Mhm.
Um, Silver Sneakers, for example, they have great videos.
Okay. That I just joined that age group the other day and belonged to Silver Sneakers. So I checked out the why the other day. Um,
It's great.
And the an answer comes in, yes, I love my chair exercises. From the chat. Now there is one other question that comes in from an anonymous attendee, and it says, "What are your thoughts on fasting?"
Sure. And I appreciate asking that. again, I can come from what I know and what I've researched. And we don't know if it's a gentleman or a woman asking that?
No, it's
No,
anonymous.
okay. Um, because that's going to be different. So first of all, it will be different based on age. So younger adults versus older adults, and then men versus women. For women that are really have a lot of questions about menopause, fasting, workouts, things like that, there's a great woman called Dr. Stacy Sims, and she talks a lot about this in regards to fasting. And basically, what she has found in all of the research that she has put together is as women get older, fasting actually um, can kind of do worse for you than benefits that you would have when you were younger. However, men at the same age would actually benefit from it. So that's why I say men and women
It,
are very different in this. If you are wanting to gain muscle, especially as a woman, fasting can actually do the reverse of what you're wanting because you don't have enough in you to give you that energy throughout your workouts.
Interesting. Very interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Those are the open questions we have. Keep them coming, people. Put them into the question and answer Q&A tab at the bottom of your screen.
Thank you.
Hmm.
And I wanted to say on that too, I meant to talk about this when we were talking about movement earlier, so I will add this in just as the workout question, and kind of talking about fasting. Workouts also are different depending on each age group that we're in, and the benefits of them. So what works in our 20s isn't going to necessarily work in our 30s as it is in our 40s. So that same thing with fasting. HIIT workouts that we used to, at least for me, in my 20s, no longer are as effective as weight training and walking for me. Whereas in the 30s, a lot of times a mixture of both is really good. So it's kind of going to that fasting question. If anybody wants to reach out personally, I can share a little more in depth about how all of those can affect at different age ranges. So I appreciate the questions. Let me go to my next slide. Apologize for a second. Oh, okay. So my next one before I kind of wrap up is about behavior change. Um, because at the basis of all of this, the reason I started this is to help people understand changes in their behavior along with understanding nutrition and movement, and how important our mental health is to both of those things. So, and we can make a lot of changes for ourselves, but for them to stick long term, it's helping really maintain those behavior changes. So simple little things, because this can be pretty overwhelming talking about we have to start working out or moving, that we have to start eating all of these right things. So if we simplify it, maybe picking one time of the day where you can start adding in activity. And some of you may have heard of habit stacking, which is when you add a habit to something that's already developed in your life. So, kind of going back to the question about 5 minutes. If you get up in the morning and drink your coffee and you have 5 minutes, add in some sort of movement right then. Whatever habit you already have in place, add that in at that point. If it's at bedtime, you brush your teeth, you're kind of winding down and you can walk around your house even for 5 minutes, add that habit there. So just the importance of starting simply. You don't have to make all of these changes at one time in order to start seeing improvements in our body. I just wanted to stop and just kind of let that sink in for a minute. One small step each day, and just a huge improvement. Food wise, even talking about all of this. Sorry, I saw you come back on, Warren.
No, felt like you were talking to me personally. I'm sorry.
Mm, no,
Because I am really at that point where uh, I know that I need to make some changes. It's kind of a shame though that these exercise programs that are included in my insurance don't kick in until I turn 65.
mm,
But for younger people, um, hopefully they'll take advantage of the knowledge that you're sharing.
yeah,
I imagine at the end of your presentation, you'll give some contact information as well.
yes,
Okay, great.
yes.
Well, thank you.
Um, and I appreciate you coming on and saying that, Warren. And, even as we talk about all of this stuff, and nutrition and how overwhelming these things can be, start with one meal. So if you feel like breakfast is the worst meal of your day when we talk about nutrition, start with that. Change one thing. If you are usually a donut person, and that you feel pretty hungry after an hour, how about we add in a little bit of yogurt or a hard boiled egg and maintain that for a couple days, a week? See how your energy levels feel for anybody. And then maybe it's adding in or changing that donut. Maybe it's a bowl of cereal with some fruit. If you're like my husband, he has cereal every morning, but it doesn't keep him full. So add in something to it that could also help keep your energy levels going, help feel good, and that it doesn't have to be such a huge change in regards to nutrition. So making simple steps a little bit at a time.
Good suggestions.
Thank you.
Okay.
Exercise, kind of going back to that for everybody. Exercise, the same thing. Start small. You don't have to have a specific program. Maybe that's where you just want to start walking around the block. One small thing each day will make a huge impact on your overall health. So, not to get yourself overwhelmed on all of the things that we talked about today. It's starting small. A lot of times, if you've ever been in a group with me regarding nutrition or weight, I had someone the other day said, well, I've only lost 5 pounds in the last. If you went to the grocery store right now and you went to get a bag of potatoes, most of the time the bigger bags are about 5 pounds. That is what you've lost then. A pound. Pick up a sweet potato and weigh it. That's what your body has lost or changed. So I think always being supportive and appreciative of where you are in your journey, because it's really easy to beat ourselves up every day. And it's really easy to look at all of this information that we talked about and feel like you don't know where to start. So making one small step each day for yourself. Oh, I feel like my slide is missing, but while we're on this one, this is my contact information at Four Corners and our phone number there. So if there are any questions at any point, you can go to that. You can also just go to the website, fourcorners815.com, if there's any questions that you have for me. So there's always a way to get some help and support as we talk about these things. I wanted to open it up and to see what questions and other things that I can answer for everybody today.
Great. Okay. We have another question in the box.
Sure.
Okay. Let's see. Or perhaps, here it is, open questions. Uh, how about thoughts on drinking enough water?
Yes. Great one. Thank you. That's the slide that I'm missing, is on the breakdown of kind of hydration, fiber, So I want to, I guess, touch base on both of those. Thank you, Warren. Water, yes. It could be an overwhelming when everybody's like, drink your water, drink your water, drink your water. Start with a cup at a time. Really, people, if we all have our water bottles, Stanley's or whatever we drink, even drinking two of those a day is a great start. Um, but just starting simply with a cup of water. If you're somebody that drinks a lot of pop or caffeine coffee, swap one of those out throughout the day or add one in before you even have your coffee in the morning or at the end of your night, add one in. So it doesn't have to be a quick change that all of a sudden you're drinking all of your water. So add in throughout your day as you can, or make some swaps. And then fiber, I don't know what happened to this slide. That's the other big important one with gut health. Most of us should be getting about 25 to 30 grams of fiber per day to really not only help our gut, but when we talk about overall mood, and how that affects our mental health, we forget to talk a lot about fiber. So I appreciate you asking that question. That helped me remind me of both, Warren.
I have to give credit to Nitro Starling for making the comment, drinking plenty of water helps you lose weight.
Yes, yes. It clears out obviously any toxins that we have in our body, but we need that, especially as we are moving throughout our day. I had a client that has a little one, and when she was in my office the other day, she had over 32,000 steps, and it was not even 6 o'clock, and had only had maybe 2 glasses of water at that point, and was just feeling exhausted. And as soon as she sat down and took a breath and just took a glass of water, it was like she was a whole different person at that moment. So it definitely makes an impact. So thank you on that question.
Mhm. I have two new grandsons, twins, and I said it'd be great if we could put a step counter on the babies who are just learning to walk. I couldn't imagine the thousands and thousands of steps that they take. It's kind of hard to keep up with them. But
It is.
I noticed that the harder I work at my sedentary desk job, the less I move and the more exhausted I feel, but then the harder time I have sleeping. So it's kind of a vicious circle there, isn't it?
And it is, you bring up a great point just about being sedentary, and a lot of us that work at a desk and don't get a huge chance for movement compared to those that maybe have a job that is a lot more active where you can get that movement in or those steps pretty easily. It takes a lot more work on the side to make sure that you're getting up and moving and helping your body. So absolutely, some of that sedentary lifestyle directly impacts.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And to go back to the very beginning of your talk, first slide was what about 10,000 steps a day? And I want to recall what you said. It doesn't have to be 10,000 steps, but want to have some minimum number, you said? 7,000 perhaps?
7 to about 7,500, correct.
Okay. Well, that's still a little bit more than I'm getting, so it's good to have a goal to reach for.
It sure is.
So you mentioned silver sneakers. Can you think of other opportunities that people have to uh, be active in inexpensive ways? Of course, we've got our wonderful bike path.
Yes,
The new NAMI headquarters is right near, it's the intersection of Y Boulevard and Madison Street. So um, we're right on the bike path. Uh,
wonderful.
and of course, Rockford is known for its great park system as well. So
Yes.
great to get outside.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Now, you
I was
mentioned,
gonna just, if I can add to that really quick,
please.
Rock Valley College offers a lot of different groups. They actually have a Nordic stick walking group. I don't know the cost right now, but I feel like it's pretty minimal. So they actually have a lot of opportunities there. Anybody that lives in the Belvedere area, they actually have quite a bit of groups for individuals, especially those that are older. They have that starting in September. I will be offering a walking group at Four Corners. That will be part walking, part nutrition. So I can always add information about that as I get all of that kind of cleared up. So there's a lot of opportunities. It's just having to find some of those and connect with, unlike maybe Wisconsin, so maybe if there's some people on here from other areas, there are a ton of walking and hiking groups here in the area. I know we have a pretty big biking group. So if that's something people are interested in, they do have a lot of services with that.
Well, speaking of um, biking is actually less impact than walking, isn't it?
Yes, depending on if you have any joint pain or things like that, absolutely.
So even a stationary bike or something like that could be something that would give a person some movement
Yes.
without having impact. Hmm. Well,
And if I can add to that really quick, Warren, we actually put more pressure on our body by sitting all day than we would standing up and moving it. So if anybody's ever seen any videos, they have a really cool one of a skeletal system of somebody sitting down, and all of the pressure that puts on your joints and your back. And the moment that they stand up, they've been able to show where the blood flow is and everything starts circulating more. So, yeah, even getting up and standing around, is better for your body than sitting.
great, great answer. Good point. Well, we've talked a lot about nutrition and movement, and of course, we're all about mental health. Um, can people, uh, how do people talk to you about counseling, or what do you think about the benefits of counseling?
Sure. Thank you for asking that. Obviously, that's where I started in all of this, with Kevin about 13 years ago, because my passion is to give people a space, where they can feel safe, where we can talk about all of these things, in so many different ways. So I am a full believer. I have done therapy myself. So I'm a full believer in offering services to anybody and everybody. So I appreciate you asking that, Warren. I think all of us could benefit from somebody outside of our daily life to talk to sometimes.
hmm And you have your email address there. I would imagine that your webpage is probably fourcorners815.com.
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, it's been a pleasure. We're getting down to the end of our hour. We do have a comment that I'm going to copy into the chat for everyone. Um, Nitro Starling mentions that love Rockford's health fair. Uh, well, we had one that was rained out a couple of weeks ago, but she has a big health fair coming up August the 16th, and registration for vendors is available at her email address. I'm going to paste it into the chat right now, and looking forward to participating. We had a lot of people who were looking forward to that event, and it was the weekend of the big rain, and then this just this past weekend, uh, Representative Maurice West's uh, health fair at Crusader Clinic was rained out. So it's funny, we just seem to be getting rain on those Saturdays. But
Oh,
uh, despite the heat and the rain, weather conditions, well, they're all never going to be perfect. But it's good to get outside anyway, isn't it?
it certainly is. And I love that. Thank you for sharing that with everybody. I did not know that was coming up. So thank you.
hmm Well, all right. People are commenting that it was a wonderful presentation, and I have to agree. Sonia, thank you very much. Here's another one. Thank you so much for the information. You did an amazing job, and they loved listening to you.
Oh, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you guys coming on today and just sitting and listening to me for a little while. So I appreciate it.
And I will be uploading this recording to NAMI Northern Illinois' YouTube page. So everybody, it usually gets posted the next day. So uh, tell your friends what a wonderful presentation this has been.
Thank
Well,
you.
for everybody at NAMI Northern Illinois, I'd like to say thank you to Sonya and to all of our participants and guests. Um, we'll see you next time. Keep your eye on our webpage, naminorthernillinois.org, for more upcoming informational sessions leading the conversation. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.